Welcome back. You're watching Live from Paris on France 24. It's time now for Media Watch France, when we find out what's getting the most hits on the internet and also in the French press as well. Shona Bhattacharya is here with us tonight. Good evening to you, Shona.
Hey, Laura.
Good to have you with us. Now, let's start talking about Twitter, as we so often do during this segment. But the French Prime Minister's got a Twitter page, hasn't he? And there he was, merrily tweeting away, except nobody knew who he was.
Well, he wasn't actually tweeting that much. See, the thing is, it's completely normal for politicians to tweet, but most of them take responsibility for their tweets, and not François Fillon. The French Prime Minister used Twitter to check out other politicians' activities and as well as follow journalists on the sly. This article in L'Express, a French weekly magazine, says, "I'm not tweeting, I'm watching you." In fact, Fillon hardly tweeted at all, just about 4 messages in all. So Fillon got discovered after a fellow UMP party member, Jérôme Chartier, admitted the Prime Minister was one of his followers. Now, he promised a bottle of champagne to the person who discovered Fillon's identity on Twitter. Let's see. Here he is. This user, as we said, so this user went off and looked for Fillon on Twitter and said, so François Fillon, we know you're out there, put your hands in the air. Now, in the end, it's Stéphane Marchaud, a math teacher, who found the Prime Minister in 15 minutes. He took a list of this MP's followers, chose the anonymous accounts, and did a little research. Now, the French weekly Le Nouvel Obs' website, here it is, published Fillon's tweet congratulating him. Now, it turns out the Prime Minister owns a mansion called the Manoir de Beaussais, and that's why he chose his username as F de Beauce, as there are no accents on Twitter now.
Fillon de Beaussais, then.
Well, exactly. Now, until now, de Beauce had only published one tweet, as seen here, when he went to Japan in October, meeting the Japanese Prime Minister. And since Sunday, Fillon has changed his username to Laszlo25, and his 282 followers are gladly lapping up the few tweets that he actually puts out.
Because he's not a big tweeter, is he?
No.
He prefers to follow rather than to put stuff out there. All right.
Exactly.
Let's move on, because a politician staging something of an attempted comeback. I'm talking, of course, about the former Prime Minister, Dominique de Villepin. He's thrown his hat into the ring and says he wants to run for the presidency.
Exactly. He wants to run for the presidency, but the Nouvel Obs, once again, says that it's a race to the death. That's because Nicolas Sarkozy's favorite enemy, who, by the way, has never been elected to office, has no financial backing. Villepin doesn't even have a political party. The one that he founded, called the République Solidaire, or Solidary Republic, he left that party a few weeks ago. Now, the Nouvel Obs article calls him an upscale samurai who is taking the kamikaze way out. French daily Le Parisien.
A lot of metaphors doing the rounds in the French press today.
Metaphors. Race to the death, samurais, upscale. Anyway, French daily Le Parisien, though, paints a different picture. Most French politicians, it says, were surprised when they heard about Villepin's candidacy, especially on the right. As you said, internationally, Villepin is known as being the former prime minister, and also for making a speech against the war in Iraq before the UN Security Council in 2003. But here in France, he's known for being Jacques Chirac's former prime minister. And most people say that the only way he's going to do any damage is in the center, which doesn't have much chance of winning the election anyway.
All right, now the next personality we're talking about is not a politician per se, but BHL, as they call him here in France, or Bernard-Henri Lévy, is a philosopher who does tend to step into the political arena quite a lot, especially over the recent activities in Libya.
Exactly. Now, in France, he's published a book about the Libyan conflict, and in English, it's about to be translated. And so to take a look at that in preparation for that book to hit the stores in the Anglophone world, The Guardian took a look at Bernard-Henri Lévy's last book called Public Enemies, and they noticed that on the back cover there was a quote from the New York Times calling it brilliantly done. Now, as the Monde's blog has picked up, actually the brilliantly done quote was actually just a little bit of a bigger quote that was saying the exact opposite. It says, it was actually an article from the New York Times, it was a book review, saying that it is all brilliantly done, talking about this last book, but I'm afraid to say that none of this is meant to be read as a comic novel. It is all in deadly earnest.
All right, and I'm just looking at that photo there. He's barely changed at all, has he, over the years?
Well, that was a recent picture, but yes, I think he's going to look like that for a long time.
All right then. Shona Bhattacharya, many thanks indeed.
Thank you.
Well, it's time for web news now. We're going to find out which clips and stories are earning the most hits on the internet, including activists in Bahrain who are back on the streets after their uprising was swiftly crushed earlier this year.